Hello, I'm Brianne Kirkpatrick, a genetic counselor. The video you are about to watch has important information and support if you or someone in your family has been diagnosed with vision loss due to LHON and you are now in the position to start sharing that news with others potentially at risk. As you know, LHON, Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, is a hereditary genetic disease that affects the optic nerve and can cause sudden and significant loss of vision. It is caused by a variation in the mitochondrial DNA. This variant can pass through a family line unknown until someone suddenly loses vision. Genetic testing can now identify people at risk. LHON variants can be traced through families in a predictable pattern because mitochondrial DNA passes from mothers to all of their children. We can trace family lines up through mothers and down through their daughters and identify close and distant branches of the family tree who might be at risk without even knowing it. Once you know LHON is in your family, you have an opportunity to warn and educate others. Why does this matter? Knowledge is power. You can help others take possibly preventative steps, help them connect with faster diagnosis, potential treatment, and support.
One of the challenges with Leber's is that individuals who haven't got the family history and the background in the disease are likely to take a lot longer to get to diagnosis. So that has implications for the clinical trials because some of the clinical trials specify that you can only enroll if you have been diagnosed within the last 6 months. But it is important to try and get to these diagnoses sooner.
Knowing why it's important to tell other at-risk family members may not be what's difficult. Knowing how to reach out might be. I'll give you some tips. First, figure out who is at risk. This is possible using knowledge about genealogy and how to trace records to find everyone in a maternal line. The ways to do this can start with talking to family, working with a genealogist who understands mitochondrial DNA inheritance. You can learn how to trace mitochondrial DNA lines yourself, or you can involve a genetic counselor.
Part of the journey is a lot of individuals don't have the resources. So where else can I find out how to get this testing? Who else should I be seeing? And also, too, as part of their journey and talking with their families, when to tell, how to tell their families, and in that part of the discussion, we kind of help them facilitate.
You can also find links to the LHON Genealogy Project video on YouTube from the UMDF and LHON websites. If you want to learn more about mitochondrial DNA inheritance, the International Society of Genetic Genealogy website has a beginner's guide that can help you get started. Once you identify people in the family tree, next comes gathering the contact information to reach out to them. Many people have done this by talking with family, searching Facebook, or doing an internet search. There are challenges to doing a project like this for your family, some of whom you've maybe never even met.
There's also the piece of when you found those family members, how do you tell them? It's a hard piece of information to say, you have this mutation.
It takes time and effort to figure out who is at risk. You'll be able to identify and track down some family more easily than others. You may wonder how people will react if you do get in touch with them.
So what we try and do is when we see folks in our clinic, we kind of work through, well, what do you think would be the best case scenario of their reaction? What would be, your worst case scenario of the family member's reaction if they were to be angry? How would you feel? How do you think you could talk to them?
It might be an emotional journey for some. Some family you reach out to will show more interest in what you have to share than others. You might run into challenges to tracing the mitochondrial DNA through the family tree for reasons like adoption or divisions where parts of the family don't communicate anymore. Being emotionally ready to go on such a journey doesn't happen for everyone, and certainly not on any set time schedule or for all family members at the same time.
So I would say that, every individual is unique, as well as we know every family is unique. So some families deal with, tragic information, and they send out a text, where other families would say that's an awful way to try to do it, but that's how that family communicates.
Some people need to take a break on a project like this and come back later. This is okay. So what do you do if this doesn't seem to be the right fit for you?
Another strategy is sometimes it's a lot for you to take on yourself. So maybe you have an unaffected sibling who would maybe be your champion in the family to help you to relay that information to other family members.
Once you know who's at risk, next you'll need to prepare to share. There is a separate video created specifically for family members who are just learning about LHON called LHON Runs in the Family. You could provide a link to this video in a letter or email, or tell family about it when you reach out to them. Be ready to share the findageneticcounselor.com website address so they can find a genetic counselor near them to help out, or contact someone knowledgeable about LHON at Informed DNA. Start working on an email or letter, or use one provided by a genetic counselor.
We have also made family letters. So rather than disclosing your clinical letter to your families, which might have other sensitive information you don't want them to have, we have drafted family letters to help convey this information.
If you need help organizing your letter, freeze this frame. There is no right time, you just have to start. Time matters for people at risk for LHON, so don't wait. Reaching out is easier than it used to be.
I think that talking about LHON with relatives is a lot easier now than maybe it was 5, 10, 15 years ago, because look at all the positive stories we now have out there. It's a gift, but it's a difficult gift to give.
But you're not alone in this, and it is an important gift. For more information and support, join the LHON Facebook group and use the registration form on the LHON.org website to join the community.